Welcome to the Money Over 50 podcast, brought to you by Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue from Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. This information is general in nature and does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Therefore, you should consider whether the information is appropriate for you and your personal circumstances. If you require personal advice, please contact Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. Here are your hosts, Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue.
Welcome to Money Over 50. Today's topic, find money and automate. Michael, it sounds like either the algorithm for a robot in the future or something like that, or some topic of yours.
I got to thinking about this because early in a calendar year, I actually go through all of my expenses from the previous year.
Yep.
And I start with things that are recurring.
Yes.
And I saw this recurring $12 per week expense coming out. And when I tracked it down, I actually only learnt to track down what an Apple expense is by going into that particular app on Apple, or you go into your settings in Apple. Yeah, if you got something, it's charged to you by Apple. So this is what I'm talking. This dot to dot. This thing was coming out for $12. It was a reference Apple iTunes.
Yep.
There's a part you can go into on your settings, and I actually because we've got devices.
Yeah.
My wife's phone, my phone, and 2 iPads. I had to track it down. You got the right one. So tracked it down.
Yep.
And it'll tell you what it is. And it was dot to dot. And I was like, what the hell is this dot to dot? So the penny then drops. So Richie, my 4-year-old, loves doing dot to dot. So the old-fashioned way was to have printed out. Yeah, printed out a page that's printed out.
And it says 1, 2, and you follow.
Yeah, you have to follow the dots.
Around.
So you do that now. Yeah. You do that on your iPad now, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
So it's $12 per week, $624 per annum. So I actually changed the subscription to a $40 per annum annual subscription. So, I mean, this is...
You just said that. That's a great example of one where in our modern world, there are just a million and one of these things.
There's a million and one of these things.
And it's not enough money that, like, it's $12 a week. So you just see it coming out and you probably don't think too much about it. But once a year, it's a great time to sit down and go, what is this $12 a week? What even is it for? What did I sign up for?
So it got me into thinking that it's a good process to do this every 12 months.
Yep.
Because things just creep in. And just with that little... So he's still got access to his dot to dot. I just changed it to a $40.
Yeah.
And all of these tech companies will take an annual subscription over a monthly one because they went up front. Yeah. So, by my accounts, that's actually saved us almost $584 a year. So there's 3 steps to this. Number one is when you actually sit down and do this, you want to go through your credit card statement. You want to go through other direct debits coming out of your bank. See if you can cull those expenses or you can reduce those expenses. Number 2, what you want to then do is to automate that into your superannuation fund.
Yeah. So this is as you say, I think this is a great point because the key here is it's easy to do this in January. You know how you sort of you go through it and everyone's got a New Year's resolution. They're going to be more careful with their money. And what you do is you find all these savings, but if you don't actually then get rid of that money, it just bloats back out over the course of the year. So you've freed up your $12 per week.
Yep.
But all that happens is if you don't then get rid of that money out of the account or whatever you do there, you then just end up spending it on something else.
You do. And so what we're talking about here, just in this one little example, is we've reduced a $12 per week cost down to, on average, $2 per week.
Yeah.
$1 per week. $1 per week.
Yeah.
So that allows me now to do step 2, which is to set up a recurring weekly transfer into my super fund of $11 per week.
Yeah.
That expense was coming out. It's not coming out now. I can then, the difference is $11 per week. I can actually automate that into my super fund. All you need is your BPay details.
And
of
the
your
key here is that
superannuation
you can set this up, and this will happen without any change to your lifestyle.
Any change to your lifestyle, no change to your lifestyle, you would generally make it as a personal contribution, and then at the end of the financial year, you can, we don't even need to get into this detail.
Yeah.
You can decide how much you want to claim as a tax deduction after the end of the financial year, but if you get the BPay details of your superannuation fund,
you can just set that
you can
up.
set that up.
Weekly BPay straight in.
Weekly BPay in. So this is just one expense here, $11 per week going into my super fund. And point 3 is repeat and adjust. So every time you cancel a subscription, all you have to do is add that to the regular amount that's contributed. And again, without getting into too much detail of how short you're going to be and how you're going to bridge the gap between where your retirement savings are projected to be and where you need to be at retirement, by doing this, you're doing something.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're actually...
And that's, I guess, a great point is this is an exercise that everyone can do. It's something that it's an immediate action step or something to take control of and to get started is that, and we've talked about this before, we've used the example there of $11 per week, but the reality is that when you went through this, it wasn't obviously just that one. There would have been other things. So if you assume that you can find, 5 or 10 of these little bits and pieces of things that are coming out, there's $100 every week that you can save. Now, if you've got that going into your superannuation fund, that makes a huge difference over 10 years. Now, again, I won't go into the detail here, but if you go to a previous podcast, the give up, get back ratio, where if you can give up $100 net per week, what that actually means is that in 10 years' time, you should be on track to have about another $100,000 in your retirement savings.
Yep.
So this is kind of where, like you say, it's a bit of an easy win, because if you can find that money, if you can find a net amount of $100 per week, where you can end up is that you can be making a difference of $100,000 per year. And so it's a really good exercise, I think, for a couple of reasons. Is that number one, it starts to get the ball rolling with a feeling of control and taking ownership of your situation. And secondly, it gives you a good window into the fact that those regular things, that structure, that plan is the key, and the amount of difference that you can make over the next 10 years of your working life is huge if you do that and start that now.
It's huge, and the key component to it is it has to be automated.
Yes.
You have to set up a weekly push.
Yep.
And it's so easy to do that now because
Yep.
every single internet banking has the ability to do a recurring BPay.
Yep.
And you can make it weekly, fortnightly, monthly, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Have that money get pushed in, and point 3, repeat and adjust. So every time you cancel a subscription, every time you adjust your cost down, you can add that to the original amount. So I find another $10 a week thing. I add that to the $11 a week that I was already doing, and it becomes $21 a week. And that's it. And that's effectively how you do it. You just have to adjust that figure.
Yeah, the
that you're pushing
changes,
in there.
But I think it's one of those things where, it's like, again, we always use the example, but it's like when you start an exercise program. You don't get off the couch day one and run them. You get off the couch and you walk to the end of the block, and then you turn around and walk home. And then the next day you walk a bit further, and then the next day you might start a bit of a jog, and then that's how you run a marathon. It doesn't. What's the old very Zen saying? A journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step.
Well, there's that, or there's how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time.
But I think this is a great one at the start of the year. Is a simple action step that you can take, and so again, a very simple one. We try and have as many of these podcasts as possible be something where you stop listening and you go and do something to take action, or that it motivates you to start to make things happen. And I think this is a great example of something that everyone probably can and should do.
Yep. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Money Over 50 podcast with Money Over 50 financial advisors. We look forward to catching up again soon.